Hi, very warm welcome to you. It's Dean from maverickstar Observatory. Guys, it is the 17th of the month, and you know we have a little birthday party here on the 17th. We whip out the SD cards of the TriMag and the magnetosphere sensor, and we also do the latest pinpoint position of the North Magnetic Pole. So guys, why don't we get into it? Let's have a look at the TriMag data. There is something exciting, but you can wait just a few minutes before we put you out of your misery. There has been a slight uptick in the progression of the magnetic North Pole. I'll show you a bit later on the Google Earth so you can see, and we'll give you the current coordinates of that. Here's this month's data, or should I say this last half month's data. We are now on the fringe of banging number 14 for the first time, which means the magnetic North Pole has increased a little in speed. Now, given what's been happening over the last few months, I'm not surprised, because this was what I was thinking might happen next, only I didn't want to say it because you know what, I've caught so much flack about oh, the magnetic North Pole should have been here in March, we should have passed that 40 degrees by then. I didn't want to give any more dates. I just wanted to just show the data as it is, and let's face it, it wasn't my fault in any case. I can't control what the data records, or for that matter I can't control what goes on beneath our feet. So here's the current data. It's on the website. We've also got the magnetosphere data for this month. Let's just swap over for you so you can have a look at the magnetosphere data. As you can see, showing what I would call average performance over the last 17 days, because we're also checking now every half month the TriMag data and as well the magnetosphere data. But nothing out of the extraordinary. If I just scan down, you can see things are pretty calm, banging around the 199 mark, as is normal for the TriMag. Sometimes we get some of these wavy patterns. That is more likely to do with solar wind. If we start getting solar storms, it does affect the magnetosphere. It's also going to affect the intensity which we record with our magnetometers, not just here in the UK, but also in Canada and Arizona as well. So let's have a look at the latest position. But before we do, guys, remember that we're doing this twice a month now. That's twice the workload. That's twice the amount of data that's got to be uploaded to the website. We service now around 20,000 people on the website every single week. But the sad case is that if we can get 5 or 6 people a week to chip in a few bucks for this, that's all we're managing to do. So we're pretty much just providing a complete free service. And I don't mind that, but I do mind when the numbers drop down, below even a significant number. So, there will be a link at the end of the video. It's not mandatory, and we certainly aren't begging, we're providing a service like we get accused of a lot. But remember this is your observatory. This is the only last port of call for free and unbiased information relating to these topics that we talk about. Over the last month we've had to produce our credentials, we've had to show the equipment, we've done it all. We've got nothing to hide. We collect the data honestly and we relay it back to the general public, and this is the only observatory that is doing it in the manner in which we are. We're not just collecting magnetosphere data from different locations around the world. We're collecting the muon data. We're also tracking accurately the magnetic North Pole in its progression. And we do CO2, oxygen, we look at earthquakes, volcanoes. We put a lot of people out of misery, and mainly on this one website we cover most of the geoanomalies that take place. But it is awesome when a few people do recognise the effort that we put in and chip in a few bucks. So if I can just ask that a few more people, especially on days like today when we do the work with the Trimag system, give you the data and all that. There is a lot of work that goes into producing this for you. So if you could just chip in a few bucks here and there to help us out. It's not just ourselves that we get something out of this, but a lot of people. Over 100,000 people on YouTube, 20,000 a week on the website. It just would be awesome if a few people would help. That's all I've got to say. Links at the end of the video. Anyhow, guys, let's have a look at where the magnetic North Pole is, because that's why we're all here today. Okay, let's get on with it. So you will very quickly see what I'm talking about. The distance has increased to 3.13 miles in 3 weeks of roundabouts. The latest latitude for you guys, if you're following it on your own Google Maps, is the latitude is 81 degrees 56 hours 26 minutes 39 seconds north, by the longitude of 115 degrees 26 hours 51 minutes 27 seconds east. I'm going to just drop that down so we can have a look at the distance there. You can see 1.3 miles it's covered in that period of time. And now what I want to do is just zoom out for you so that you can see, or we can put it into perspective, where that is to the 47 degrees mark. So we're not that far away, and especially at this rate, if it continues at its current speed, we are going to get to that 40 degree mark. I want to just zoom out. What I'll do in a video over the coming days is I'll put the experiment back on with the distance that we are to the 40 degree mark. If you're new to the channel and you're wondering what the 40 degree mark is all about, I'll just briefly say it's a theoretical mark based on some experiments that we've done here for the tree. What the experiments showed was that once an object has travelled a distance of 40 degrees with the influence of the magnetic field, it gets to 40 degrees and rapidly shifts. That's what the experiment shows, and we are theoretically saying that that could be the case with the Earth. After all, there is no real reason why that shouldn't be, but we will see. We are probably just a couple of months, if that, away at its current migrational speed. Now, just to give you a recap what's been happening, over the last few months, we've seen the pole stop, go back, stop, go forward, then stop and then go forward a bit, and now it's crept up a little bit more gradually, just a tiny bit. 2 months ago it got a little bit quicker, only marginally. Now we're seeing a slight acceleration in that speed over distance, so something could be going on. Don't hold your breaths just yet. Remain on the edge of your seat like me over on this, because we don't know what can happen next. Is going to come to a grinding halt again. I particularly don't feel that, because there's nothing to indicate that now we've seen an acceleration, things are going to slow down. But what I will say is we ain't far away at all from that 40 degree mark. So stay with us. Let's see what happens in the coming months. Okay, I'll zoom out so you can see, and I know that the video will be doing that before I even mention this, so at least you'll be able to understand why the video did zoom out before it ended. Is because I want to show you that there is a corridor that the magnetic North Pole has been tracking, and we know where it's going to end up based on looking at the magnetic intensity maps. It's going to end up there in central Russia. Let me just zoom out. There, where the new North Pole pin is, it's going to end up there, because that is the epicenter at the current moment with regards to the highest intensity right now in central Russia, and that is where we are tracking with the magnetic North Pole right now. That's where it's been heading. It's been heading in this direction, guys, for the last 120 years. Only as time has been going on, the magnetic North Pole has been speeding up, covering more distance, which is an indication to any righteous, well rehearsed scientist an indication that our Earth is definitely in full swing of a geomagnetic reversal. There is no question about that. Whether it is an excursion or whether it is a completed reversal is anyone's best guess. We just do not know what is taking place in our core of our Earth, because even if we go back 12,000 years, that was an excursion. There is no recorded data on it other than what is being encapsulated in the lava flows and the mid-Atlantic ridge around our world. So that's the only real historical information we've got on what happens when the poles go through a reversal, or when they have done. If it is the big completed reversal and it remains that way, we are going to still be in the same boat with regards to the magnetosphere, shrinking back off to next to nothing. It's going to offer us very little protection. Cancer rates are going to go storming through the roofs. Cardiac arrhythmia is going to go storming through the roofs. And it will not just affect human beings, it will affect biodiversity across all ranges on our planet. So that includes tree species, plant species, animal species, across the range, guys. Nothing will evade what is coming. If our magnetosphere dwindles down for a prolonged period of time, it will accelerate massively those two things. So, that's why I say, I know I shouldn't be excited, but as a scientist, been studying this now for 10 years, over a decade, we're starting to see things happen. This is what I've been waiting for a long time, and you guys as well, and it's coming. We can't avoid it. This is something that Mother Nature chooses to do, on top of all the other things that are taking place in our life and our world. This is something that we have no control over whatsoever. What we are doing here at the observatory, though, is making sure that we have a full, accountable record of what has gone on every 3 seconds for the last nearly 5 years now. That's an incredible amount of data. We're talking over 100 million data sets in that time. We've got it stored on the hard drive, ready for us to go back over this data and say, look, we could definitely see signs here, we could definitely see signs there, of things were progressively getting worse. And as we've been doing this, guys, every month, every half month now, you've been there like a fly on the wall, just watching what's going on at our observatory. That's how open and visible we are. We're well out there in the open. We're hiding nothing. There's nothing I liked about what happened recently with the magnetic pole coming to a grinding halt. But, if we look at it another way, at least it was telling us that, things were starting to happen. When usually things don't happen, things have started to happen. That's a big thing. Guys, I can't keep you any longer. I hope you've enjoyed what we've done for you today. There is a link down there, and I sincerely hope that you want to join us and the good few people in our community in keeping this going for you. So there's a link down there. Come on, let's do better than just a couple of people chipping in. Let's just for today do a little bit better. Say what I usually do. Take care of your loved ones, as always. Bye for now.